Hello, sentient beings of planet Earth. Welcome to Nihilist Wrestling episode 19. I am your host, Ash Manson, biggest Judgment Day mark on the internet. I bet you're wondering how I'm doing in these trying times. I have been begging WWE for months not to break up this iteration of the Judgment Day that has been, together for quite a while, and they went ahead and did it anyway. Breaking news, Ash does not control WWE Creative. Turns out I'm not quite as mad at it as you may think. I will break down my thoughts on all that. AEW, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about, to be honest with you. I'm an AEW guy, but I'm going to admit their shows have just not been super interesting. There's always good wrestling. There just isn't a whole lot to talk about as far as that goes. This is probably going to be a WWE-centric video. And, we're going to talk about the aftermath of SummerSlam. I was wrong about a good number of matches, and I always think that's a good thing if it's not super predictable. There were a number of title changes on SummerSlam, and we're going to talk about how WWE looks like with all these new champions and new storylines and all that developing. So, let's get right into it with my crew, the Judgment Day. My interest in the Judgment Day definitely stems from the fact that Adam Edge Copeland is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. When he debuted, I was a teenager, and I kind of identified with him just being an enigma and screaming, and having kind of the long hair, alternative heavy metal-ish look. And of course, when he formed the Brood shortly thereafter, they were completely badass. And, again, even though they were around for a very short period of time, one of my favorite stables of all time. And then Edge and Christian, the tag team, they billed them as brothers at the time, are arguably my favorite tag team of all time. When Edge went on to have his solo career and they later branded him the Rated R Superstar, I guess I wasn't a huge fan of that moniker. I feel like they were kind of sanitizing him in a way. I know they had already made his character a little bit more easier to swallow when he was goofy with Christian. It's just, Edge... He was always very clearly like a kind of hard rock, heavy metal guy, and I always appreciated that. And I just always kind of wish that he leaned into his character from the Brood a little bit more throughout his world title reigns and all that. And eventually, after he was gone and he came back again, you started to see Brood Edge seep out a little bit more. He came out to the old Gangrel Brood entrance music a few times, and his logo that he was using had fangs as a tribute to the Brood. So, suffice to say, when he started the Judgment Day with Damian Priest and later Rhea Ripley, I was like, oh, this is totally for me. This is exactly what I've wanted to see all these years, and it was phenomenal. And the early Judgment Day I thought was great, but of course, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton both got hurt, and so WWE made the hasty decision to turn Edge back babyface, have Finn Balor join the Judgment Day and kick Edge out promptly. I think is one of the biggest creative missteps in WWE recent history. Maybe second only to breaking up the Hurt Business, which is complete bullshit, but we won't get into that right now. I've been riding hard for the Judgment Day, ever since their day one. And even, in their earlier incarnations, shortly after they kicked out Edge, and it was just Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley, they were not featured so prominently on television and were kind of like a little bit of a punchline to a lot of wrestling fans, but I was still going hard for them. And then when Dominic joined and he became ex-condom, that kind of reads like ex-condom when you spell it out. Just a little funny tidbit there. But oh my god, I was just thinking, this is glorious, glorious. So then after Dom joins, you got Dom, Finn, Damian, Rhea. That was probably the longest incarnation of the Judgment Day. And later JD McDonough came along. And JD McDonough was actually my favorite wrestler in NXT at the time that he got called up. And I think J.D. McDonough's utilization on the main roster has been really, really poor. Because, for one, this man is great on the mic, and we saw that a little bit on Raw. And he is phenomenal in the ring. So, speaking of this past Raw and SummerSlam and all that, what ultimately do I feel about the Judgment Day essentially kicking out Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley? I'm not thrilled at it. It's not what I wanted to see. I can kind of see what they're thinking. Like, Damian and Rhea were undeniably popular with the crowd, and the Judgment Day was supposed to be a heel stable. My solution? Turn them babyface. Just think of how many Judgment Day t-shirts are going to sell. People already love Finn Balor. Carlito's not hard to get people to like. And the way that I was saying is, if you have Dominic reaffirm his allegiance to Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, he would turn too. But they didn't want to go that direction. Whatever. It's not a bad story. I still think it's very interesting. Carlito and Liv Morgan seem a little bit out of place at the Judgment Day, just because I don't think they properly fit the dark aesthetic of the group. Not to say that Dominic really does, but Dominic was almost kind of ironic with the original Judgment Day, and it just kind of added to the insanity and the reason that you wanted to boo the guy. Not me, of course. I'm a huge Dominic fan, but I'm just saying the average reason people would want to boo the guy. I don't know if they're going to do a Terror Twins versus Judgment Day feud. It's kind of... I don't know exactly how you would do that with one man and one woman against a full stable. I guess they could have a match like Rhea and Damian versus Finn and Liv, or Dominic and Liv, or something like that. But they could do something like they're going to end up doing on SmackDown with the original Bloodline versus the bootleg Bloodline. Are we looking at the bootleg Judgment Day? I still love the group. I still do. I mean, just because I'm not certain that Carlito and Liv Morgan are a fit, that doesn't mean I'm not fans. I'm big fans of both of them. Of course, I already established, big fan of Finn, JD, Dominic. What I worry about is that, Rhea and Damian were bona fide stars. And it was the Judgment Day was going to continue to be a prominent part of the show on Monday Night Raw so long as Damian and or Rhea were in the Judgment Day. Now that they remove that star power from the group, I worry about the group fading into the background. I'm not saying they should. They still have plenty of talent in the new Judgment Day. I just kind of worry, because of course Finn Balor could be a main event guy, but they haven't been featuring him in that light for a very long time, which is unfortunate. And I don't think you need to split Finn off from the Judgment Day for him to be a main event guy again. He did have that world title program with Seth Rollins. He had that phenomenal program with Edge at WrestleMania. Finn could be the biggest star in the Judgment Day. There's not going to be any leaders, but he can be the top guy that it seems Rhea or Damian was previously. But, like, Carlito's 45 years old. You don't really think he's going to be in the main event scene. Dominic is definitely a future main eventer, in my opinion, but he still is yet to win. Like, he's won the NXT North American Championship, but he hasn't won the Intercontinental or US title yet. Like, he still has, like, a few rungs to climb and all that. I just worry that my group, that was once kind of the centerpiece of Monday Night Raw, once this feud with Rhea and Damian is over, are they going to fade to the background? I so hope not. So as I mentioned a little bit ago, we saw a little taste of what it seemed like when you really like give JD McDonough something to chew on. Like his little backstage promo where he tells Damian Priest, like, you never wanted me to be in your cool kids club. Well, look at me now. I am a WWE champion and you're not. I'm in the Judgment Day and you're not. I thought that was phenomenal. And that match that he had with Damian, also, like I keep saying, JD can go. They have used JD in a way to basically just take the fall for whoever like Finn or Damian is feuding with. Especially when, Finn and Damian were tag team champions, they would have JD and Dominic basically lose to whoever was going to challenge Finn and Damian for the tag titles constantly. I didn't like that, but, hopefully they use this as an opportunity to elevate these guys that are in the new Judgment, well, not the new, but the kind of somewhat reconfigured Judgment Day. Elevate them rather than, having them lose steam because arguably their two biggest stars just left the group. And of course, I will always be in the corner of the Terror Twins, the OGs, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. It hurts my heart to see them feud with the Judgment Day. I know, like, you're supposed to get disappointed sometimes when you're watching wrestling. If you always got what you wanted, then you would just become inoculated to it, and then when you did get what you want, it would just be business as usual. You wouldn't react. So, it's all right to feel disappointed, and I am overall disappointed, but I'm kind of adopting a wait and see. Like, maybe Liv Morgan is going to step into her role as the the lone woman in the Judgment Day and absolutely crush it. Every time they've given Liv Morgan the ball in the past, well, like referring to her program with Ronda Rousey, for example, her winning Money in the Bank, and like especially this feud with Rhea. I mean, she has crushed it. So I hope this new Judgment Day is a way to highlight Liv. I hope it's a way to give Carlito a bigger platform. I mean, Carlito has been hilarious with what they've given him. Like him like he'll always telling Dom whenever he would complain about Liv love bombing him, he'd be like, that's cool. And that would pop me every time. And Finn would be like, no, that's not cool. Like, I love that interaction. But Carlito is, again, another guy who's just got it all. It's just oozing the it factor. So, I'm not going to say I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just kind of in a wait-and-see mode when it comes to this new Judgment Day. I hope they do great things. I hope they elevate everyone involved. I'm really wish Damian and Rhea were still in the group, but you know what? As I just said, you don't always get what you want, and that's about all I got to say about that. There were a hell of a lot of title changes at SummerSlam, and there were 7 total matches, and I said on my last video I liked that. I liked how they ran a little bit leaner on the match card, just, so we're not having a 4 to 5 hour show. And it just made them seem more important by not oversaturating the card. But yeah, of the 7 matches, 6 of them were title matches, and of the 6 title matches, 4 of them resulted in title changes. And the one match that wasn't a title match was Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with Seth Rollins as the guest referee. I'm just gonna briefly touch on every match that happened again because there were so few, and kind of what I think about it and whether I agree with it, whether I was right with my prediction. So Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, I was correct in my prediction that McIntyre would win, and it seems to be igniting somewhat of a program between Rollins and CM Punk, like they were initially supposed to have at WrestleMania. So that pretty much went down exactly the way I predicted it. Of course, CM Punk blew a little bit of a gasket attacking the referee, and that cost him the match. That's, just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's wrong. I think those three can practically do no wrong, in my opinion. So yeah, that one wasn't surprising, nor was Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Yeah, my hope and prediction was that LA Knight would win that US title, and he did. That was so long overdue. People have been clamoring for LA Knight to, be more prominently featured on television for about 2 years now. He finally got his singles title, well deserved. I hope he absolutely kills it. I have confidence that he will. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker again went as I predicted. Not as I hoped. I was kind of hoping Sami would retain because I feel like Braun's Intercontinental Championship was inevitable. I don't know. I was enjoying Sami's reign. I didn't quite want it to end yet. I enjoyed the way that he always proved the doubters wrong. But it was, like I said, it was inevitable. Braun was going to be Intercontinental Champion. The guy's a freak athlete. He's also got that it factor. So it went about as I predicted, with Braun Breaker winning the Intercontinental Championship. As far as something I did not predict, Gunther defeating Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't like it. Not just because I'm a huge Damian Priest fan, big fan of El Campeon, All Rise. He's still an OG Judgment Day member, even if he's not in the group. I kind of feel similar about this as I do about the Sami Zayn Braun Breaker match. I think it's absolutely inevitable that Gunther was going to be the World Heavyweight Champion. I feel like Damian Priest needed that match more than Gunther did. Damian was just firing on all cylinders as a champion. And I think people were starting to really get behind him. And if you're going to formally have him as a babyface, no longer affiliated with the heel Judgment Day and all that, and you're really going to embrace the fact that he's a good guy, he's the guy, he's El Campeon, you just end his title reign right as it really felt like he was getting going. I don't like it. Obviously, this isn't a knock on Gunther. It was just the right man at the wrong time. What babyface right now are you going to put against Gunther? CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre are all kind of, they're all involved with each other, and it's kind of, tying their hands as far as, the World Heavyweight Championship goes. You have Damian Priest or Jey Uso challenge Gunther. Well, we've seen both those matches recently and all that, and I don't think you can have either one of them beat Gunther. So, I just don't know where you go from here. Of course, he was going to be your champion. The guy is incredible. I don't see compelling paths forward with Gunther as champion, whereas Damian was really having one hell of a title reign. So I'm disappointed with that. Again, disappointment's part of watching wrestling, but I just don't like it. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes from here. Bayley versus Nia Jax. I do believe I predicted that Nia would win. I don't remember. I think that I predicted that she was going to win. I could absolutely be wrong. Either way, I was hoping that Bayley would win. Nia won the WWE Women's Championship. Well, I'll say the same thing as I did last week. I've never really been a Nia Jax fan. She's undeniably better this time around, this WWE run, than she was last time. We'll see. I don't absolutely hate it. Like, I think Bayley was, like, although she's a massive fan favorite and people weren't turning on her yet, I just kind of felt like she was treading on Cody Rhodes territory, just being such a white bread babyface. I know she just recently turned, but like, I don't know, there's just not a whole lot. As much as I enjoy Bayley, there's just not a whole lot that's compelling about her character, and I think she was at risk of the crowd turning on her. So, I don't necessarily disagree with that decision. Now, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. I would have loved to have seen Rhea take the title back and, like, Dominic reaffirm his allegiance to Rhea and have the Judgment Day be the top baby faces on Monday Night Raw, but that's not the way it happened. I predicted that Dom would betray Rhea and Liv would retain the title, and that's exactly what happened. Just because I didn't want it to happen doesn't mean they're wrong in doing so. Of course, it was predictable. Same, like, what do I say? What do I say? I'm bummed that the Judgment Day as we know it was changed. But we're really going to see what Liv does with this. She is going to be a monster heel now, because she is going to be tied at the hip with Dominic Mysterio, who was already a heel and turned more heel. Like, my man was arguably the number one heel in terms of heat drawn in WWE already, and then he betrays the most popular female wrestler on the roster. Like, this heat is going to be off the charts. We're never going to use the term X-Pac heat again. I always hated that term because, like, a lot of times people used it to mean go away heat. Sean X-Pac Waltman is my favorite wrestler of all time. The man drew legitimate heat. Y'all can go fuck yourselves with that. But we're going to rename that Dominic heat. Dominic Mysterio heat. Ex-Con Dom heat. Like, he is going to be synonymous. Like, when a heel gets booed heavily in the future, they're going to be saying, that's Dominic Mysterio heat right there. So Liv has an excellent opportunity to really show her worth. And as I already said, she's knocked it out of the park every chance that she has had in the past. And this run so far, she's been doing excellent. So while, again, the Judgment Day scenario didn't work out the way I wanted, I'm excited for Liv Morgan's future. And then, of course, Cody Rhodes was going to retain against Solo Sikoa. I don't think anyone had any, like, illusions to the contrary. We all know that was just a way to set up Cody's next feud. There was rumors, could it be The Rock or was it going to be Roman Reigns? I think Reigns would have been the more predictable way to go. But again, just because it's predictable doesn't mean it's wrong. The real tribal chief returns, Cody Rhodes retains, and there was even like a little bit of an acknowledgement, no pun intended, like Roman Reigns kind of like nodded his head at Cody Rhodes, like, I see you, well, I'm gonna deal with you later or something. Maybe that was the subtext there, but Roman didn't waste like any time. Like, I was always almost like wondering if he was going to at least kind of pretend like him and Solo were going to be cool, because Solo never explicitly said Roman Reigns is out. He said he wasn't coming back, and if he's got a problem, like, he can let me know or something like that. But I almost thought they would at least tease that Roman and Solo were on the same page, but nah, Roman just went straight to kicking Solo's ass. That is going to be interesting. I can't wait until Jimmy Uso gets back, and I hope we see an Usos reunion. I hope that Sami Zayn reunites with the OG bloodline. So we're going to have Roman, the Usos and Sami Zayn against Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tamatanga, and Tongaloa. Let's see, what month is it? It's August. Can you string that out until, I believe, Survivor Series is November? So I think like they can have a match. They can have a Roman Solo match, and there can be some like unresolved issues after the match is over. I want to see War Games. I know the Bloodline's been involved in War Games before, but I want to see like fake ass bootleg Solo Sikoa Bloodline versus OG Roman Reigns Bloodline in War Games. I also I wish that there was a way to do, Judgment Day, OG Judgment Day versus New Judgment Day in War Games, but that's not possible because Edge is in AEW and you just have one man, one woman as far as the OG Judgment Day goes. So that's not possible. I just kind of like the idea of it, right? So SmackDown business is actually going to pick up because I said in my preview, I think it was 2 episodes ago, whatever one, I said that the B and C shows have been struggling a little bit. SmackDown needs a pick-me-up. Like, Raw is going to be running hot with this Judgment Day angle. They had the Wyatt Sixes in-ring debut, which was phenomenal. Like, when Eric Rowan did the yeah, and that little, the little sign that Brody always used to do. That hit me in the feels when Joe Gacy did that whole upside down stare that Bray Wyatt used to do, and of course with Bo Dallas / Uncle Howdy adopting so many of Bray's mannerisms. That was phenomenal. So Raw has been really good for a long time now. We need SmackDown to catch up, and I'm gonna need AEW to step it up a little bit. I know they have All In Wembley coming up later this month, and maybe it's just they can't do too much on television because they gotta save it for arguably, by practically any metrics, their biggest show in the year. Maybe that's why the shows haven't been super good lately, but I'm an AEW guy. I hope they get back on track. And I'm just, as always, just excited to watch, the next show and the next show. We got SmackDown coming here tonight. It's about a little after 7 p.m. Eastern as I'm recording this, so that's in a little under an hour. Always looking forward to watching more wrestling. So that's about it. I'm a shut up now. And until next time, revel in what you are, my friends.